We do have a couple of bits of news. One of it is quite big because we know that Tynan, of course, is leaving, well, DC in general, but he's leaving Batman
Mainstream
specifically.
comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got news this week of who's replacing Tynan on Batman. And it is none other than someone else who have been sort of referring to as one of the architects of the overall universe right now, and that is Joshua Williamson. And I have to say, we'll get to it obviously when we talk about the book, but I think this week's Robin kind of comforted me a lot as far as how he's going to treat the family.
So I'll save most of my thoughts for Robin.
Yeah.
However, Williamson has such a command over the DC universe that I understand why John selected him for Flash. Right, coming into Rebirth during that WonderCon panel, he had said, I'm going to leave Flash in good hands. I picked this guy. I had known him from his indie work before, so I was pretty stoked. I had no idea at that time that he was going to be able to come in and tell stories, that right in my wheelhouse. And so him taking over Batman, is like, where's he going to have all this time? Because, like, this is Bendis, like, the amount of titles his name's on.
Yeah, it's it makes some amount of sense, especially when you can consider that Infinite Frontier will be done by the time this is starting up, and of course, some of the other things he's doing are a bit more short term as well. And we have him. He says here that he's honoring, what the other Bat books are already doing, and it's not going to be so much unlike what we were just saying before. It doesn't necessarily feel like he wants to come in and reset everything.
No,
although he has got his own bat. He's picked a Bat costume that he wants to have in his comic. He's got the oval back, so that's something to look out for.
And that's fair. I feel like you want to put your mark to let people know, like, even if they just look at the cover.
Yeah.
This is the Williamson run, if you will.
Yeah.
It's not like he hasn't written Batman before, like, because he did those issues with King, the crossover with the Flash, and
he also did some Batman Superman early on. Jorge Molina is the artist, at least to start off with, and it's going to be a new villain in the first arc called Abyss. Yeah, that's basically the news. 118 is the first issue of Williamson's run, so very neat. You can get a look at what this new villain looks like because the covers for 118 and 119 are both out with this news story. And yeah, he's got a bit of a generic look. He's kind of like a all black version of Spoiler's outfit, but with like a sort of gas mask sort of looking thing on.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little stormtrooper.
Yeah, I wonder how he's gonna rebound after Fear State, because we kind of know that's where Tynan's leaving, is post that, right? Yeah. So it's almost Gotham's almost primed for a reset at that point. So interesting that he's gonna lead with a new villain.
I wonder, is that yeah, I think that's Molina's art on that 119 cover, which actually fills me with some, because I don't really know this artist, but if that's Molina's art on that cover, then I'm suddenly very excited for what the art in the book's going to be. It's a very nice cover, that's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna look this up because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's issue 119.
I got that.
Although I think it did 118's cover as well. All right, while you're looking at that, I will move on to the other bit of news, which is not huge news, but it's big in the sense of how many books that it affects, and also when we'll be reading things. So, DC has informed retailers that a sizable portion of its upcoming releases will be delayed due to the pandemic's ongoing impact on global supply chains. Now, this is interesting that we're getting this particular problem now, given that it's not like we're early in the whole process or anything. If the business has been fairly smooth sailing for a while at this point, but this came from DC's marketing manager Albert Ching on August 25th. Up until this point, we've been able to keep delays and shortages to a minimum, but with recent notifications about COVID-related port closures, international and domestic freight delays, workforce shortages, and severely allocated paper supply, we are unable to continue to manage the situation without disruption. So they've now revised release dates for 28 upcoming single issues, along with 5 collected editions. So I guess what I'm saying here before I tell you anything else, because there's a list here, is that if certain things feel like they've suddenly moved in the next couple of months, this is why, right? Bunch of things got delayed. Now, admittedly, this list here, it does feel like it's mostly that they've kind of picked what they're letting slip a little bit. So a lot of the mainline stuff seems unaffected, but a few things are trickling in. So here's the list of books that have all been moved. Batman Reptilian issue 5, Batman New Adventures season 2 issues 4 and 5, Long Halloween Special issue 1, Batman Catwoman issue 8, Batman the Detective issue 5. Now it doesn't look like they've been moved a lot. It looks like they've been moved maybe a few weeks, each. Blue and Gold.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
Yeah, Blue and Gold issue 2 and 3. I remember you were expecting issue 2 like last week or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's not a huge delay. That's like next week. It's not 2 weeks from now, but it's not like a big deal. Green Lantern 2021 annual has been moved.
Okay.
Hardware season 1 issue 2, Justice League 67, Lock and Key Sandman Universe, Hell and Gone issue 2, Nubia and the Amazons issue 1. Issue 1's a bit easier to swallow because it's not started yet.
Yeah, no, I got down to the bottom and I just saw a list of them that made me say, oh no.
Yeah. Static season 1 issues 3 through 6. All pushed back. Suicide Squad Get Joker, issue 3. Suicide Squad 2021 annual. Superman Son of Kal-El issue 3. Although that's actually not that far away. I mean, I think issue 1 and 2 were already pushed back a little bit because they weren't meant to launch on the same day as Action, but the last 2 issues have been.
It's almost like a fair reset where like you're just letting stuff catch up.
Yeah.
So you can get back on a regular publishing schedule.
Superman 78 issue 3. Superman Son of Kal-El issue 4. Why were those separated? That was weird. Teen Titans Academy 7 and 8, and then finally Wonder Girl issues 4 through 7, which does suck. I was looking ahead at next week's books. Issue 3 of Wonder Girl is next week, so it's not actually that bad because the issue 4 is 12th of October, so it's just over a month since issue 3. So the actual gap between issues doesn't look that bad. If anything, the gap we had was between issue 2 and 3. It's felt quite big.
Yeah.
So.
But just seeing them all in a row like that, I was like, oh no. But then I was like, oh no, that's a regular printing schedule.
Yeah. We've already kind of had the delay for the most part. In fact, anything looking at this list, issues 5 and 6 are both out in November, according to this.
Well, Superman Son of Kal-El is they're a week apart, 3 and 4.
Oh yeah. Given that these delays were caused by supply chain issues and not because the creatives are taking longer, you would expect that maybe these will be out quickly at some point like this. So
yeah, noticing Batman and Detective not seemingly impacted.
Yes.
So, or Wonder Woman.
Or Action.
So it makes me wonder.
For that record.
Oh, right. Makes me but it just makes me wonder if the double shipping ones are kind of ahead of the supply chain issue.
Most of them are back to single shipping though. Batman's the only one right now that is double shipping.
I feel like, why am I so behind on Wonder Woman then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it double shipped last month?
Yeah, maybe. I'm 3 issues behind at this point, so that's why I'm only a month behind.
I'd have to go check the November solicits again, but I definitely will Fear State on Batman's double shipping.
Right.
And then, I mean, technically it's triple shipping in November because you've got that one shot, the Fear State Omega, final one shot, right? Because we got the first one next week.
That's why though too, because they got their ducks in a row, and that's part of a banner event.
Yeah. Because
so they don't want to delay one thing.
Fear State
makes more sense.
I mean, I'll tell you the full list later, but Fear State Alpha issue 1's next week, which is the sort of kickoff to the Bat event. So which would be fun, but.
I'm excited for a Bat event. I know I talk a lot of crap about Batman, but Bat events are fun just because of all the different characters that are involved. Because it's not just Batman, right? Like,
yeah, I think it's because there's such a deep roster that lives in Gotham. So when you have an event that affects the whole city, there's just a natural kind of way to fit everyone involved into it, right? So it's very easy to say, okay, this is how Babs is getting on during like No Man's Land. This is how so and so is getting involved in No Man's Land. Like all of it kind of nicely fits together. Whereas other family of characters, like you have characters that are spread out sometimes across different planets because Superman flies off somewhere, or because the Green Lanterns are all spread out, or
God, but see, I used to feel the same about when John's on Green Lantern. Like you get to that big Green Lantern story, and there's so many different lanterns.
Oh sure.
You're just like, oh man, if I don't like what's going on in the main story, I have this story to go with.
Yeah, don't take what I just said as you can't do it with the other families. It's just just there's a reason why Gotham tends to have a really good track record, is because it tends to be really easy to fit them into the mold, I would say.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah. So there you go. Unfortunate. I mean, honestly, it's not really that big. It sounds, because when I read the headline, I was like, 28 books have been delayed. But then you look at it, and it's those. We've actually already had most of the gaps that were caused by it. So, hey,
right.
Whatever. There you go.
I'm going to pull a Connor, and I want to talk about a silly thing that got brought up.
Go on.
That Philip Kennedy Johnson responded to. A certain person who will remain nameless brought up that they have an inside source saying DC's going to kill off traditional Superman and all this other stuff. And the news got back to Philip Kennedy Johnson, and his salty reply was like, yep, you found me out. The character that I've wanted my whole life to read, that is on, posters and lunch boxes and T-shirts. My first mission out the gate is to kill him off and do my own thing. And it's rare to see creatives engage in silly stuff like that, but it was actually kind of refreshing to see him, step up and be like, all right, don't listen to this person. They have no idea what they're talking about. And it made me like proud that that's my guy writing Action Comics,